in a nutshell is you have Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, those are entitlements, we're not allowed to touch those. Well, that's, you know, 3/4 of the national budget. And then every other idiotic program is completely idiotic, does absolutely nothing, and yet every single person who works for those idiotic programs, there was one called Impact Aid. This one, I'll never forget this, and I'm sure there are a million more like it. It was school facilities wherever there was a military base. Well, we shut down all the military, or a lot of military bases, after Reagan won the Cold War. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. And so you didn't need the schools anymore. Nobody was living there anymore. But yet, the federally employed teachers, schools, principals were all still in these ghost towns, and they would come to town with their 3-color pamphlets and mugs and come and talk to people like me saying, our program costs less than the cost of a postage stamp for every American. Well, that's true of every program. We're a big country, and every single person who worked for Impact Aid, and I hope Senator Abraham, I don't even remember, I hope he voted against Impact Aid. If he did vote against Impact Aid, every single person who was being employed by that useless program would vote against him, would campaign against him, and everybody else would think, well, we don't care. How do you make that an issue? Guess what, Americans? I just saved you a penny. So that's, I mean, you get in this vicious cycle where you can never cut anything. But I do think the Tea Party is changing things, because for the first time I can remember ever, you see Americans complaining about getting stuff themselves, and Ben Nelson in Nebraska is the example of that. He signs on to Obamacare, gets some great deal for Nebraska, goes back to Nebraska, and he's getting booed when he goes out at night. I've never seen that.
Ann Coulter is with me. We're in our brand new Bing studio. We'll be back in a moment. It's First Amendment Friday, and you're listening to The Lars Larson Show.